Yo, what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Nick the Great coming at you with another live. You already know if you're new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. To all the returning friends and family, you already know it's peace and blessing. I'm gonna give y'all some time to tune in case these notifications ain't go out. First things first, hopefully everybody having a blessed and productive Taco Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Hopefully everybody was smoothly able to get through the work day. Hopefully the kids was able to get through the school day. For those in the city, hopefully he was able to get out. It's been a little bit better since some of this snow done started melting away, but we still need the rest of this sucker going. So hopefully he was able to get out and try to at least enjoy the decent weather we've been having. Those celebrating birthdays, hopefully you've been keeping yourself safe, enjoying every moment. Appreciate everybody that tuned in to the last live stream. Definitely was a great conversation. Shout out to everybody who was a part of the conversation and adding to it. Like I said, these is always going to be talks that you need. So, and if you did miss it, you can definitely catch the replay. I don't know how long we'll be on tonight, but I just wanted to touch down on a few things. Title clear as day. Latanya, baby. Happy New Year, sis. Hope all is well with you. The title is clear as day. And it's not enough that we can cover tonight. Like I said, there are some things that are starting to really become a part of the toxic culture. For some people that don't understand it, I mean, toxic on all different levels. And it's those same toxicities that people just gotta wash themselves away from. Inferno, what's going on, my guy? See you up in here. But yeah, there's a lot of things that are starting to get added to this culture, right? And again, those is the type of toxicities that you really don't need around you or need in your circumference. You know, like prime example, I feel compelled to say this. It's something that I've been thinking, and it's something that I've said, but I've said it in different terms. It's toxic when you are shooting somebody when they're down. That's the worst form of toxicity right there. Kicking somebody or discrediting somebody when they're down. Like prime example, just saying negative things that you know can possibly impact, especially the young one and the younger generation. I feel that's toxic all around the board. And the reason why I say it's toxic because you never know how it could affect somebody. Yeah, bro. I mean, like I said, I've been just been real busy to a degree. So, when you don't get some form of a live stream or you don't get something, you know what it is. Life be life, man. That kind of healing praise, sis. I'm just reading the message again, and condolences because again, I know it's not easy to deal with. It really is. You gotta just take the time out, Sis, you just gotta take the time out. There's nothing wrong with that. You lost, your flesh and blood, so it's not an easy thing to deal with. It's not an easy thing to deal with as far as losing anybody, especially loved ones. So just know I'm always here, sis, if you need to holler at me. But yeah, like I said, it's it's toxic when you sit here and you don't encourage the ones that you say are the problem. Like I said, I feel it's toxic. Like, prime example, I done forgot the name of the movie. Diddy, baby! Come on, sis, you already know how we do it over here. Everybody needs that encouragement and support, especially when they're going through it. So, but yeah, it is toxic in my opinion, and that's something that's been added to the culture. Like, prime example, I forgot the name of the movie with Denzel when he was playing the father. That was just like you got parents out there like that, or you got people out there in the world that are like that. In some instances, it's tough love. It's giving you an insight on how the world could be, but then also on the same token, it's toxic behavior because it's supposed to be able to understand your children. Supposed to be able to identify with them when it comes to certain scenarios, right? But how can you do so when you're constantly putting them down, constantly just showing them that you don't care? Sometimes the words and sometimes your actions, they will feed off of that. And that right there again is toxic. You know, you're supposed to encourage the young ones to try to reach for something better. Like I said, there's a reason why some of them are headed to the streets, or this is another reason why, in some cases, some of them are going into early grade. When it's all said and done, they need guidance. That's why I said it has to be a strong effort. You know, and we know not everybody could be saved. We know that, but in the same token, it doesn't hurt to try to at least inspire those who need to inspire. You know, like I think it's toxic for anybody of any age to try to criticize or downplay something that the youth are trying to do or something that possibly could be, you know, grabbing their interest. You know, again, inspire them. Sometimes, yes, you might have to show a little tough love, but you know, don't go too far with it because you don't want to say the wrong thing or commit the wrong type of action, and now it backfires. You know, that's just like if you being a mentor, right? You know, your overall goal as a mentor is to still teach. give guidance where it's needed. So, the simplest things that you say in negativity, it could trigger somebody. Or, you know, it could backfire again. So, that's what I'm saying. It really is toxic behavior to basically criticize. Now again, there's nothing wrong with constructive criticism because that's a part of the game. That's a part of life. But when you're criticizing to a point where you could possibly do more damage than do good, that's a problem. That's like you constantly telling a child that they trash at something that they are actually good at. They might not be the best, they might not be the greatest, but they are still good at what they do. Isn't that supposed to be something to strive for anyway? I mean, it doesn't hurt to encourage those that just need that little bit of encouragement. See, in the previous generation, even the OGs that was in the streets, guess what? They always had some form of game or some form of knowledge and wisdom to bestow to somebody. See, they criticisms, yes, they was constructive. Because the most they was trying to do was keep those ones from running down the same path. And I can respect that. Because when it's all said and done, a lot of them could actually be more than what they are. They just need the right type of push. James, what's going on, my guy? I see them coffee cups in the chat, man. The goal is, though, and I'll be honest with you, the goal always should be to encourage them for something better. Don't push them down the wrong road, and that's the road that they might not come back from. Let me tell you what else is a part of this toxic culture that I've been seeing, and something that again should never be taken for granted or made light of. There are some things that you again should never do. Like prime example, you got some of these young ones. I spoke about this a while back. Those that claim that they got opposition or they got enemies, like with some of the drill culture, right? The toxicness that you see from the drill culture is something that again needs to be studied. But I would say that for anybody that would make light or even poke fun at or just blatantly disrespect. Like I said, when it comes down to people who are deceased, let those people rest. Why talk about certain situations or why put certain situations in your music, right? And it could have consequences. Like again, that's toxic in itself. Talking about people who are deceased, people who are not here, people who can't defend themselves, people who can't tell you the actual true story if there actually is something to tell. And that is toxic because why is it such fun and games to make fun of the deceased? Belt Loop, what's going on, my guy? Hope all well with you, man. Y'all already know if y'all just tuned in, hit the like button. And if at some point it sounds like you can't hear me, uh, just let me know. Serious, baby. I think by me using my earbuds, it probably might be a little delay. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's toxic all in itself. Again, there's no grounding points. Nothing good about that. Talking ill or just saying ill things about people who are no longer here. You might as well just put a whole target on your back. I'm sorry. But nothing good ever comes out of that. And that's something that has become a part of the culture and it's toxic. And I wish people would stop doing that. What thrill do you get speaking on somebody who can't even speak for themselves? Again, you don't know who those people are related to. You don't know who could be around you. You don't know what you could set yourself up for. All because, again, you decided to make ill of that situation. If that's not toxic in itself, I don't know what else is. And that point right there, guess what? It's not going to get you anywhere. And the most it's going to do is put you in an even worse position than you need to be. That's a part of the culture that needs to just change. See, a lot of things have just made the regular culture toxic. And before I go even deeper into this, again, healing prayers to those who might need it, especially people who might have lost people recently. Like I just found out some things myself before I even started this live stream, but I just need to make sure it's not truth, you know. Because sometimes some people just jump out the window. But again, healing prayers to those who definitely need it. Um, Also, R.I.P. to Jesse Jackson. Um, I know this is supposed to be Black History Month, but be quite honest with you, our history is all year round. They just decide to only give us the 1 month, but we learn more and more every day. So with me, I focus on things that are just general teachings that we need, or just general conversations that we need to continuously have in order to break some of the toxic culture that we talk about. These are some of the things that, like I said, needs to come to a halt. Like I said, talking about someone's lost loved one, making fun of, when again, nothing about that is funny. Because that same pain somebody else was enduring, you could be enduring that same pain. There's some people who learned the hard way as well. You done made fun of people who are no longer here, and then you end up losing somebody that was just with you the following day, or the day before, basically. So let's try this again. Why do some of y'all do that and you get a kick out of it? When you're not careful with your words, when you're not careful and how you doing things, especially again when you are making fun of people who are no longer here, you open up that doorway to being a moving target. And at some point, you might get what's coming to you. So, in order to avoid that, the wise decision would be just focus on what you need to focus on. If you got an issue with somebody, you take it up with that person themselves. You keep the issue or whatever focus on that person, not a family member, not a dead relative, none of that. Because again, only thing that does is ensure you that it's gonna constantly be beat. Once you cross a certain line, that's it. Some people ain't trying to hit it. Some people take it in stride. Some people let nature take its course. Others is not going to do so. Again, you don't know what kind of door you open up when you do stuff like that. And that's toxic. I can damn near remember people getting their asses whooped, excuse my language, just for doing stuff like that. You made ill or said something about somebody that wasn't here, and it was grounds for you to get beat. It was grounds for you to get punished. Without understanding, you said something around the wrong person, you possibly could have been fighting. Nothing has changed from that outside of the game just elevated. Now somebody could possibly take your lights out, turn your TV off, whatever you want to use as a phrase. They can basically end you if they want to. Gotta be careful out here, man. Because you never know who could be around what corner. And they're going to remember what you said, especially if you were sitting there constantly making fun of it. I've always felt that it was just something evil to do. Say something about somebody that's no longer here. Even on a joke tip. Nah, that's not cool. That's toxic. And you asking for all the wrong energy to come your way. Appreciate you for dropping those links, serious baby. Working hard in these damn MTA workers, baby. But yeah, it's just that's another form of destruction anyway. Because again, you don't know how these people are going to react or what they could possibly do. And some people will act quicker than most people. BMF, what's going on, my guy? Don't come in here without my scratch off tickets. Serious, lock the door. James, if he moves, hit him with a cup of coffee. I need my lottery tickets right now, son. Don't come over here with that. Don't come over here with that. But it's a problem. And again, that's not nothing to play around with or laugh at. Because you could be laughing and thinking that it's all cool. And then, like I said, it could impact you at some point. And now let me ask you a question. Would you want somebody laughing at your point? Like I said, it's like a toxic cycle that keeps going on. Need to change that in the culture. Start having respect for those who are no longer here to defend themselves or that can't tell you what they need to tell you. And this is one discussion that we need to keep trying to have until we can at least suppress that. I at least believe that that part should change. Because again, if you're going to put yourself in danger like that, then that shows you don't care about nothing. You don't even care about your own well being or your safety. And in some cases, you are deleting yourself from bigger and greater things. That's why I said there's toxicness that's coming into the culture. Like at one point, we was able to inspire people, and yes, like I said, constructive criticism. Constructive criticism is a must. But again, when you are overly criticizing something, or wrongfully criticizing, or shoot, for that matter, you just disregarding, something that that person really likes to do, or something that that person has a passion for, that's a problem. Because again, I thought the goal was to inspire those that need the inspiration. Like again, how do you expect a young one to thrive for something greater when you constantly putting them down? You're canceling out what you're trying to do. Like I said, I'm gonna dig deep into this to a degree because I feel these are points that some people just they don't lock into, and I feel once you lock into these things, you can get a general consensus of things. You know, so it's just two real good points to think about as far as the toxic behavior. Like I said, there's ways to do things without destroying the balance. Because again, like prime example, some of these younger folks, all they need is a little guidance, a little direction. Especially those who really want to try to move away from, what's driving them down the wrong path. Now, yeah, there are some people who are just never going to be able to escape whatever because they done been too far in, you know. And with some people, they already have that mindset of this is all I know. That's like with the case in when it comes to some of the hustlers, prime example. Some of these hustlers could walk away from the game, right? Some can't. For some, they done got too comfortable or too used to it. This is all they know, right? Even though there are multiple options for that person to do something outside of, once they already have that mindset that this is who they are and they willing to accept that, there ain't really much you can do. But then again, you have those who the only thing they really need is just the opportunity and that right push, you know. And it's toxic to kick people again when they're down or disregard them when they are just trying to do something for the betterment of themselves. Again, they need that support because in some instances we have people that will say, "Oh well, These young ones don't care. These young ones don't value this. These young ones this. But it's not all of their fault. I mean, let's keep it real. I mean, we have again some of the people from the older generation who are moving just as wild, if not wilder than those same ones. So, like prime example, how can you expect some of these young ones to understand conflict resolution or understand how to deal with certain situations when some of y'all, you know, not showing good examples of it. Like again, there are some things that if you feel necessary, you do whatever you need to do. But there's a time and a place for those things. And again, you have some people who are locked in to what's going on social media. It's toxic to give the wrong type of advice, and it's also toxic to again just be overall losing your composure. There are people who know how to have a disagreement, civil or not, and they don't have to go for it. You know, that's because they was taught how to deal with conflict. If it's nothing that serious, then you know, let it be water under the bridge. We know it's not always going to be like that. There are some scenarios where probably going to have to come to fisticuffs. But hey, that's only if that situation can't be dealt with words, and it's already done gotten further past the point of no return. At some point, that will happen. But any other time, supposed to be able to settle your conflicts with words and not physical violence or threats or none of that. And for some people, doing it for a form of entertainment, cool. You part of the ratchet TV or the ratchet media culture. And I feel like this in some cases. If it's entertainment, like some of y'all say it is, then let that be known. Ain't you supposed to give people a fair warning? Now I know in some cases, some situations, it truly is beef. But again, the way you deal with conflict is not giving an example, or at least a great example, of how to deal with it. Like if we gonna have a conversation about things, right? Then shouldn't be no, I'm cutting you off, I'm screaming and yelling to the top of my lungs. It's supposed to be a civil discourse. We've had many, and we have seen many versions of that. A civil discourse or disagreement where it's not going further than. If you're crashing out, how do you expect those ones up under you not to crash out? I'm just saying that part of the culture has become toxic as well too. Like I said, there's just some things you have to be careful for. Like even out in the street sometimes, you know, you gotta think about that. The things you doing, again, you are stirring up the pot basically, you know, and nobody is learning how to deal with conflict when there's persistent screaming, yelling, or even violence. Not everything has to be solved with violence. And I think that's what also became the toxic part of the culture. That everybody feels it has to come in some form of fisticuffs. Take 10 steps back and reevaluate shit. Maureen, baby. But yeah, we gotta remember this. You know, there's no way that we as a whole expect certain things to change when again, not initiating the change. Now again, shout out to those who know how to have some form of discourse without it turning up. Angela, baby, it can't be a piece. Yeah, it can be. You know, because again, it's nonsense to go back and forth with people when again that's a form of stress. Like that's still a form of stress. The fact that you would be going back and forth with somebody, especially when it ain't working. And again, how do you teach conflict resolution when you're doing the same thing you trying to get the youth to stop doing? It goes back to what I said a while back. That's like your kids being up under you or your nieces and nephews being up under you. And every time they up under you, you always fighting. You always doing something that you shouldn't be doing around them. What you think they gonna do? They gonna leech off of that energy after a while. Again, the young ones are impressionable. They are reading and looking and feeling throughout everything to get a feed on what it could possibly be like when they get older. And if they see that you're always into something, you don't know how to deal with conflict a certain way, guess what? They gonna feel they have to do it that way. In all honesty, ain't a good look. Again, you have to be mindful of certain things that you're doing and certain things that you say. And again, a lot of them are leaning towards social media. And in some instances, what do you really see on here? Same old madness, same old melodrama. The people who are supposed to be dealing with conflict a certain way are shooting in certain cases acting worse than the kids. So again, you can't expect certain things to change in the culture when the culture is not doing the proper, the proper steps to getting it. Just saying. Hold on, yeah, give me 1 second. You know, like you can't expect them to, to do things a certain way when they're not getting the proper blueprint. If you're still yelling, screaming, making threats, even threats on somebody's livelihood, how is that dealing with conflict? So how is that showing that we can elevate past that moment right there? Like I said, not everything has to lead to violence. And in some cases, that's how people always feel. I gotta be violent. I gotta be hands on. I gotta prove something. You wanna prove something? Prove that you can deal with a situation without it leading to violence. Test yourself on that. You'll be amazed and see how far you get, you know? So, like I said, in some cases, for some people, time to show the way. Not saying that you shouldn't address things when you need to address things, but again, it's about setting the example. And for some of y'all that do say you want to set the example, you set the example by dealing with certain situations the proper way. In some cases, it'd be hard to because everybody's emotions be high. So that's another thing. Take the emotions out of shit. You know, take the emotions out of things. But again, I would also say too, whenever there is some form of a problem, it should be addressed right then and there. And if it doesn't happen to be that way, then guess what? When the next opportunity is, you let it be known what it was. That's in the event you're not able to assess that situation right then and there. And in some cases, it don't even be that serious. It really don't. It's stuff that could be talked about, discussed, and 9 out of 10 tossed under the rug. Like, all right, this ain't nothing. What's also becoming a toxic situation in this culture of ours, oh, I'm sorry, and this is something that I keep saying. What's toxic in this culture today is the lack of respect. Just Jay, baby. Keith, what's going on? What's poppin', man? See y'all in here. That's toxic behavior in itself. It's the lack of respect when it comes to certain things. You know, respect was and still is a key component for anything. And some people really don't. They really don't respect when people are on a peaceful side of things or they don't respect how you moving, how you do things. That right there is toxic. Like prime example, respect that somebody is actually doing some form of good, and they're not out here doing something that could be damaging to the people within the community. You know? Yeah. My bad, y'all. Man, I can tell it's gonna be one of those nights. But yeah, you know, respect goes a long way. And in some cases, some people need to respect the grind, respect the perseverance of a person that actually wants to change certain things and just want to make something happen. And I don't care what age you are. There's never a time limit out being upstairs may give you. So again, every day, just do the right thing. Respect yourself. Because if you don't respect yourself, the people around you won't respect you at all. The people you might come across won't respect you. Like I said, that's one thing that has become toxic, the lack of respect. But then I just remembered this too. You can't have respect for others if you don't have respect for yourself. That's another thing. You know, and in some cases, it's sad because there's some people who sit here and actually try to bring somebody down or keep somebody down. But why can't you respect the fact that that person actually has something going and hey, they're good at what they're doing? Like prime example, if I got somebody that's working a certain career or in a certain job field, my goal is to keep you uplifted, not try to convince you to do otherwise. Some people can't respect that. Some people will make a choice, especially when it does come down to whatever profession they might get into. And I think that's something that needs to be reevaluated. And again, shout out to those who actually know how to respect certain decisions, whether it's dealing with friends, family, you know, because you already know what it entails, you know. Same way you would want somebody to respect your overall decisions, you gotta respect other decisions as well too. But see, when you don't have the blueprint to having common decency, you can expect certain things. Like you could expect to crash out. Prime example, not every discourse has to be a verbal lashing or it doesn't have to be disrespect. I've seen people have discussions where there wasn't no shots thrown, wasn't no shade being thrown, just straight up grown conversation. Who's that, Montana, baby? Again, the goal is to try to set specific examples. And I think that is a part of the culture that needs to be revived. Because again, not every disagreement has to be outrageous and outlandish. And in some cases, you just know when to walk away. That also is a part of the conflict resolution, knowing when to walk away. Like not arguing about things that don't need to be argued about. Again, it's about keeping the stress off. Jewel, baby! You already know if y'all just tuned in, hit the like button. And if y'all new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. But yeah, there are other ways to deal with these type of scenarios. And again, we can't expect some of the toxicness to just be vanquished away when we have some people who are still gatekeeping the same type of toxic behavior. In some cases, yeah, it's entertainment. In some cases, it's just things that really boiled over. But in the same token, again, let's be real. There's a time and a place for everything. When you're making it a public spectacle, that's a problem. I'm sorry, but there are some things that are just beyond toxic. And I believe that that situation right there causes some of the situations that you come across or the situations that you hear about. Like I said, I'm all for entertainment. If that's what it is to some of y'all, it's entertainment, cool. But again, you gotta be wise in the entertainment that you bring. You have to. So if this is entertainment for some of y'all, you should give the fair warning. Because some people honestly think that some of the scenarios that's happening is real drama and it's not. But again, it's toxic in itself. What's the purpose of going back and forth or disagreeing when you just have one option? Walk away from it. If it ain't that serious, walk away from it. So, just what you do and how you do things that again affect the culture. In some cases, you feel like you have to be, again, savages to prove a point. In some cases, it seems like it's a competition of who's better than who. We are all on one form better at something, or even great at something. That doesn't take away from who you are, because what you might be great at, I might not be great at, and vice versa. See, I'm gonna be honest with you, and now I'm about to get down to some form of relationship. So, what's toxic when it comes down to that culture right there, the dating culture, is some of the things that you see or some of the things that you hear about. Let me say this. It's toxic in some ways to think that you can have your cake and eat it too. It goes back to what I was saying a while back. Mike, what's going on, my guy? Been a minute, man. Hope all well with you. It is toxic though. It's toxic for some of y'all to think that you could string people along and not be truthful. Case in point, it goes back to what I said in one of the previous lives. If you know you're dealing with multiple people, your best bet would be to be honest with those people that you are dealing with. When you don't communicate or when you don't let somebody know something, that's where a problem can occur, especially if you are dating or dealing with multiple people. It goes back to what I was saying before about people just keeping that communication open, saying what they're looking for right then and there. And if somebody let it be known then and there what they're looking for, that's solely up to you to decide if you still going to try to deal with it or not. But here's another thing that's toxic. I hear you, Mike. Congratulations on the job, man. But this is the problem. The communication should never be off. It should be no gray areas. But again, let it be known from Jump Street what it is you're seeking. In my opinion, what's toxic about this type of dating culture now is because some of y'all are looking for traditional situations in this modern day world now. And it's not saying that it's not there or that it's not present, but again, it's a search. Because let's keep it real. You know, some people could be clear as day and upfront with what it is that they seeking, and some people will bypass all of that and still try to take that chance or that risk, and then complain about it later on when it doesn't benefit them. I feel that's toxic in itself. If somebody is not making you the primary focus, if you feel like they treating you like an option, or even if it's plain as day they treat you like an option, you know what to do from there. What has become toxic in this culture, at least what I see, is some people again be so hard up to be with somebody, they're willing to do whatever. But again, you're taking a risk. That's all I'm saying. You know, when you have interest in somebody, you let it be known what it is. And then you give that person the option to decide if they still gonna deal with it or not. But also let me say this. If you decide to deal with whatever, just remember, you decided to deal with it. Can't complain about it later. Can't be upset about it. You chose it. In some cases, people are giving you an option right then and there, but it goes over certain people's head. They're giving you an option right then and there. If you don't see that, then that's the problem. Because when a person really is locked in on you, they locked in. But yeah, it's important that again we start making communication a thing again. What's toxic in that dating culture is again you have people who are not being real with the people that they quote unquote dealing with. And again, if you are dealing with multiple people, those people do have a right to know. Because guess what? It's about process of elimination. If you are trying to seek somebody, if you felt like you narrowed down your best option, then again, just be real. Again, give that person the option to decide if that's something that they want to be around or not. Because the goal is also not to waste nobody's time. That time you wasted, you probably done block that person from somebody that really wants something. So just get back to that. Another thing that has become a part of that dating culture, and I feel is becoming toxic to all levels. There are some of y'all who just can't resist coming on these platforms and just being messy. Again, there are some things that should just stay behind closed doors. Not everybody's business to know your business. And some of y'all will get frustrated, get upset. Oh, these people don't know what they talking about. These people just making assumptions. Yada yada yada. But if you're presenting certain things out here, you can't expect that not to happen. Like prime example, I feel it's toxic in the zone for anybody that's married to come on any platform for that matter and talk foul about their significant other. Chef, what's going on, my guy? Been a minute, my guy. You know, that's all I'm saying. There are some things that you should keep to yourself. Again, privacy. You can't expect not to get some form of opinion, pushback, or somebody just saying something out the ordinary when you are bringing everything to the forefront. You know, this is the real problem right now. You know, some of y'all just don't know when to keep things under wraps. Not everything in your life has to be put out there for the world to talk about, especially if you don't want the world to talk about it. And I think that's where some people mess up. Now, you might have some people that give constructive criticism, but it depends on the scenario. But again, I feel that's toxic if you are married, long term relationship, something along those lines, and you coming on here either every day or every other day saying something that is beyond disrespect. Again, something you should just keep to yourself. You already know, Chef, man. Happy New Year to you and the missus. And Happy New Year's to those who have been popping back up recently or who might be in the background lurking. And for those who haven't, if you haven't subbed up to the backup channel, please make sure you do. Yeah, I've been cooking with these short videos, but there's more coming, and there's more coming. Somebody say it with me now. Say it with me now. But yeah, there are some things that again you need to just keep to yourself. Now, if these are things that you have already had talked about behind the scenes, why bring it to the forefront? I've always said this: if you don't want any form of criticism, bashing, bad mouthing, so on and so forth, maybe sometimes you should just keep your mouth shut. Not everybody's business to know what's going on in your relationship, your marriage. No, not unless y'all both comfortable with bringing it to the forefront. But when you're constantly saying the wrong things and doing the wrong, and some of these people, not gonna lie, see they do this just for the content. Why make your partner content if your partner is not really down for it? Prime example. See, that's the thing. You try to support on certain things, but there are some things that people just not gonna get down with. Like I've seen a situation where this lady was just saying she basically lost her husband because of the content that she was making. Hey, y'all gotta stop with some of this toxic behavior. Because again, why would you try to downplay or disrespect the person that's doing the most for you? See, that's toxic in itself because some people will cry about there's no good people out there. And everybody is out for self. There's always some form of excuse or some form of narrative being brought when they're not looking at themselves. Some of the things that happen, you bringing it on yourself. Like prime example, some of you ladies and some of you fellas out there telling everybody your every moment, every move, all your private situations. To be quite honest, you setting yourself up for failure. That's like some of you women you come out here, yeah, he dick me down good, and excuse my language, but it's true. When you don't come on social media with saying that shit, you saying that shit in public amongst people. Some of y'all don't care about how y'all present yourselves when it comes down to the overall conversation. In some cases, that right there can be a turn off for people. Nobody want to care about your body.
All right. Keep your mouth shut. Why is it everybody doing what's going on? The bad part about some of y'all is that y'all don't fully tell the whole truth. You tell a part of the story. Oh, come on now. You know, there are some things that you y'all losing out on. Constantly coming on here down to that nobody really wants to hear. Again, it's about having self-respect. And if you have self-respect, then guess what? You'll also have respect for your partner. See, the problem right now in this dating culture right now, too. Yes, I'm still speaking on that. The part of this dating culture that's the most toxic is, again, lack of communication and lack of respect. Like, prime example, respect somebody when they tell you that, you know, they're not your type. Respectful. Nobody's doing Hey, I respect it. I respect that. Be respectful. And another thing, not respectful of people's feelings. Like, if you know you're not interested, as not saying nothing at all, just say something. Not hard to do. No doubt, Angela, baby. Give me a one if you can hear me. Check 1 2 1 2. Hear me now? Can you hear me now? My fault. I took one of my earbuds out to charge it. So, all right, good. Yeah, I think that's something that we have convos on as well too. You know, it's sad that the community has also the comprehension, because some people can't comprehend when might not be. Don't say something. You should be able to read something, and that's it. You should be able to read. Gentlemen, it's about time to start communicating again. You know. Hold on 1 second. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Look like it's still moving on my end. And my bad. It could be. You know, it's sad though. Sleazy Yeet. Happy New Year, sis. You know, and I think that's something that, again, I have to start bringing back into the fold. When you are not communicating with people, period. This is what I'm saying. You know, have these open conversations. You know, because again, that time could be given to somebody who actually. But also remember this: somebody serving up your person is bad. Then how many others out there? Same thing with priority. Then you option. Give me 1 second. Hear me now? Can you hear me now? I think I might have some form of delay too. I got it with an apology. Not getting the full audio. Yeah, like I said, I believe that we have to implement in communication again. And the one thing that I do see is toxic. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I think the one thing that really toxic is again the unrealistic. Not saying that you shouldn't have goals. Not saying that you shouldn't have this. But again, it should Gotta be real. Have to be. You can't put a list of things that continue adding on and adding on. I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of y'all messing up what you have good to compare your situation to everybody else's situation. Works for somebody's relationship marriage might not work for you. So find what does work. And that's on both ends. That is on both ends. You have to. The goal is all with somebody. You're working as a unit, not working solely for self. Y'all supposed to be as for goal is at peace with. That's what the goal is supposed to be. So stop comparing the relationship and marriages to others, because that is the guess what? It's going to always be something somebody is not happy about. And it's sad to say that people are really hard to please. It does come because of comparison. Well, why these, why these, why are you worried about that when you should be focus on what's working in marriages? Focus on what you can do to marriage strong. I think that's something that everybody should take heed of. And yeah, what's going on, my guy? Stop comparing your relationship, your marriages, to everybody else. Because again, what works for them, it ain't gonna work for you. And the only thing you end up failing to a point where you do stop comparing something. Again, there are a lot of you focused on everybody else's situation and not focused on yours. I want to try something. Try something. Okay. Yep, I got it this time. Um, that's if anybody want to pop up. I'm not going to be on here. I just felt like we part of the culture. That's it. I ain't messing with you, Jay. But this is what I'm saying. It really a marriage is what works for you. That's the toxicness and because they worry about everybody work happy, what puts you in have to worry. Actually possibly turn into a great story. Some of y'all want the long term, not the short term. Think about that. Your long term goal should be somebody loves others do for the family that you already have built. So y'all have to stop leading oceans too. You can't, no doubt, Mike. I appreciate you, my guy. I appreciate you. You know, again, about you in your life, right? The most toxic thing, in my opinion, is somebody will never work out for you, and you always uh, unhappy. For some of y'all that remember or that know that acrimony, y'all see family about somebody that actually does hell bent or obvious that you found somebody that, regardless of what, was making you happy. Yeah, he might not have been, but you can't say it that many loving him. Look what happened. Hold on. Give me a one in the chat if you can. What's going on? Give me one in the chat if you can. Try to figure out my audio issue. I don't know what's going on today. As we had this out a couple things, y'all. My bad. Well, my apologies. Um, again, I'm gonna figure out my audio issue, but I'll be honest with you, and you consistent that you're gonna miss by the time you think to try to place it back together. Well, I believe, I honestly, that when you have something great, lock onto it, and never mind what everybody, that person may, I'm having issues, parents. So I'm gonna conclude this, and I'm gonna act with this scenario. And for those who are celebrating, every was able to make it through as for my audio. Um, I'm gonna figure this out, and I'll definitely be back tomorrow. Always, when we having audio issues. And appreciate everybody that's been a part of the build and still becoming a part of the build. Haven't been checking out them shorts. Check them shorts out because there's more coming, and there's more coming. Say it with me now. There's more coming. But again, just take this. Take this for what it is. You're in somebody that's giving, hold on to it. Do not allow anybody else to damage something that you're building, especially by comparing yourselves to others. Focus on us to bring something to the. I'm gonna come back tomorrow. We'll figure out what my issue is. I think I know what it could be, but I'll figure. Again, if you haven't subbed to the backup channel, please try to. So you already know. If you don't see me backup, so let me get my ass up out of here. I enjoy the. And again, I'll see some of y'all running around these streets. Myself up out of here. If y'all was new, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Shout outs to the shout outs to the Shadow Mafia and the Shadow Babies. Y'all know what it is, baby. And for everybody that was in the state, you already know that love is. I know how to be fake, or I can do topics and real deal. Everybody dig. Like I said, any that link is more than welcome, especially for those who are new here. All for different chamber. Tell them they got the wrong channel. I'm all for everybody's view. Hey, we gotta have this conversation. But y'all stay safe, third eye open, and until the next live, we out of here.